welcome to the Loud Albanian. We have this very special lady right here. What's your name? Do you want me to introduce you, or do you want to introduce yourself? we were talking about that.
I can introduce myself. I'm Camilla.
How do you feel?
Nervous.
Why? She's such a good talker.
I feel like I'm under surveillance.
You are.
Yeah, I can feel the camera breathing down my neck.
No, we're finally recording the gems you say every day. This woman talks. This woman says the most hilarious things every day, and I have the privilege to hear it. And now we're gonna document it.
Privilege.
For the whole world to see.
I get it from my Peruvian father.
Oh, I know. I love her father. Hello.
Cheers.
To your father.
Oh, cheers, father. Cheers, papi.
Papi. Okay. Do you want to give us an intro of who you are, where you're from, why you're as amazing as you are?
Yes.
Okay. So?
Absolutely. Born and raised, not that much raised, in Peru, Lima, Miraflores, the capital. Immigrated here in 2007. My dad came to the U.S. before we did. He did a little bit of school here when he was younger, decided to come to the States, and then my mom brought us with her. My mom was a citizen, so she married, so she was able to bring me and my little sister here. Growing in America has definitely been like, I don't want to say a struggle, but it's definitely been difficult in a way. Lots of like self-discovery. I think would have been a lot easier in Peru. I think there's a really huge like culture shock coming to the States. And even going back to Peru now, like you can feel the difference. Like I feel like they're still stuck in 2010. Like personality wise, development wise, not in a bad way, but as in like they're still
compared to
people
America.
There are still young. Like they're still young. They're not exposed to things that we are here in America. So even like moving here at a young age, I grew up in a household where my parents were very Peruvian. They only spoke Spanish, did not speak English to us. My mom took care of us full time, so I wasn't exposed to as much as other people. I still came home to my Peru, which I think made me the person I am today. If it wasn't for that, I feel like when you come to the States, you lose a lot about who you are. I think it can be very easy to lose yourself. And I think that's kind of like a little bit about me, not too much, that you guys will not find out soon enough.
I feel like that was so good, because it truly tells me that you have managed to kind of find a balance in both worlds.
Yeah. As I become older, I embrace being Peruvian a lot more. I think I push myself to get involved into things that I don't think I did when I was younger. I think because I was just like, oh, parents are Peruvian. It wasn't like anything I like realized every day just because it was part of who I was. But I think now like I appreciate my culture a lot more. And every day I'm like I love telling people I'm Peruvian. I love talking about my culture. I love talking about my people and politics in Peru and just anything that has to do with Peru. It's like something that's coming from my heart because I want to share that with people. Whereas like when I was younger, it wasn't something I embraced in a way. Like it wasn't something I felt the need to bring up because it felt like that's who I was. And also when I was younger, I lived in a very diverse area, and the school I went to and the people I went to school with tended to be like minorities and immigrants. So I met a lot of people like me in a way. Not that immigrated here, because I do feel like that makes a huge difference. But I grew up around Hispanics, Asian people, Black people. Like, I actually didn't like realize how many like white people I was around until like high school. Like I feel like high school is where you saw the biggest shift in cultures. In middle school, everybody was still young, very still like immature. It wasn't like a big deal. Yeah. But I saw the genuine divide of cultures happen when I was in high school, which made me embrace my culture a lot more. I always did, but it really brought that out of me like a million times more.
What would you say is the biggest, if you were to put yourself in the shoes of an adult that moves from Peru to America as an adult rather than a young kid, what would you say would be the biggest difference?
Oh, I can't even imagine that. I feel like because I was so young when I moved here, I wasn't as developed. I had so much room to develop, and so it was meeting people came so much naturally. Whereas when you're an adult, you don't have to meet people. Like you don't have to. It's harder to make friends.
You're more limited, yeah.
My sister came here. My sister and my brother were teenagers when they moved here, compared to me. And I know that even to this day, their accents, you can tell they're from not from here. You can tell they're Hispanic. Like you talk to them and you're like, oh, this person's foreign. Like they're not from here. You know.
Okay.
So I feel like you see that huge shift, even though they came here when they were teens. Till this day, you can tell they're not from here.
Okay.
Like you can. Most people can tell I'm not white. But nothing about me screams Peruvian. Nothing about me screams foreigner. I think it's because of my skin color.
And you have a complete
just the person I am. Yeah. Whereas like my siblings, they came here a lot older, and I feel like it was a lot harder for them to adjust to. Friends wise, you know, you don't know anybody. When you're in college or when you're doing just working like my family was, you don't have all those opportunities to meet people your age and to do the things that I was able to do when I was young. You know, I was able to interact with so many people. That I think if I would have moved here older, it would have been a lot more difficult for me to adjust to. I also think that it's a really big change because Peru is Peru. Like I feel like a lot of European countries, a lot of other countries, I tend to notice that they assimilate a little bit better in the US. I don't know if it's like a culture thing or like personality or just Europe. I don't know how life is in Europe, but I've noticed like, you know, you learn English or you learn different things in those countries that you don't learn in South America. If you go to Peru, for example, the kids, people there, even the way they hang, this was like me seeing teenagers from a lens of a teenager at the time. I'm Peruvian. When I tell people I'm Peruvian, I'm from Peru. That is who I am to my core. Okay, everything about me. You could put a flag on me and a hat on me, and that's who I am. But when I went to Peru, I realized how different my life was from them. Like my cousin, he's a year older than me. He's in college. I see his group of friends. He invited me. His friends were coming over to his house, and they invited me over, and they were so much more youthful. There was so much more life to them. Like I hang out with my friends and we drink and stuff. They don't drink. They don't smoke. They don't get wasted like Americans do. It's not that common practice over there. Yeah. You don't have to worry about your kid going to parties. Like parties aren't like that. Parties over there is like your 6 closest friends in your parents' house.
Yeah, very similar to Albania too. So
I think it's so interesting. Like I was like, wow. I was having a party, like alcohol and like games and stuff. Or just like alcohol, and not even games. But I go and we're all sitting around a table playing a card game. They have like their little beers on them, but it just there was so much conversation. Yeah, like the people are different. The mentality is different. You know, I feel like the innocence is still there. Whereas like I feel like people in America are so like you grow up so fast here. Which is why I say like I feel like the people are there are so much more like calm and like real in a way. Like they're just it feels like a different it feels like a whole entire different generation. It feels like they don't have a TV or like games because they don't. They're not used to that. You don't see them on their phones at the table. That's not a thing there. I don't know if it's like a thing here, but in Peru, I have pictures of me as a baby, as like in preschool, and like they host a full on birthday party for you in Peru. Like when I say full on, I mean decorations, tablecloth, giant long table with cookies and snacks and a full on birthday cake customized for each kid. And every single student brings you the gift and you sit on a stool and you have the other 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds come and hand you a gift and you unwrap it in front of like everybody. Like it's so weird, but it's such a big shift even from a younger age of how much more they are involved with other kids and other people. Which is why I say like the culture is so different. Like I feel like over there you feel like everybody's family. Like even going back there, like I felt like I was home. Even though I don't live there. Like I felt like every single person there, like I wanted to hug, I wanted to help them, I wanted to give them money. When I'm in Peru and a woman is walking around, she's selling candy, she's selling flowers, she's asking for help with her children. And you know that in that country people need the help.
What would you say is the the hardest thing about leaving Peru, looking back, and what would you say was the best thing that you, or like that feeling that you get when you go into a new place that you know you're gonna have more opportunity. You're like, okay, I'm excited. Did that happen for you?
I mean, my dad was able to go from nothing to everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I do believe it's a land of opportunity, but it's not easy. We have to work for it 10 times harder. You know, I feel like that concept, it makes you think that you can come here and grow easily. You know, and I don't think that's the case.
That's the yeah.
And you're expected to do things perfect. I miss family. I think that's what I would say I miss the most. I'm very close to my mom's side of family, even not living with them. My dad's side of family is very Americanized, extremely Americanized. They came here before my dad. They live 15 minutes from me, and I see them maybe once every 5 years. Whereas my family in Peru, I have a group chat on WhatsApp with my cousins from Peru. You know, we talk every single day. I see family pictures. They're just so much more involved. And so you can see the culture, even though we're both Peruvian, every single person in my family is Peruvian. You have the Americanized version of the Peruvians, and you have, it could also be because they're all men.
Okay.
And in Peru, they're all females.
Oh, I see.
But I have my uncle. I have 2 uncles. I have guy cousins, and they're just as involved as my girl cousins. Whereas in America, they're all guys.
Do the ones that are in Peru, do they have a desire to come to America? Like, if you were to ask them right now, would you go into America? Would they be hesitant, or would they be like, oh yeah, literally, I'll just grab a backpack and I'm out?
My aunt moved to America. She does 6 months in Peru, 6 months here. The only thing keeping her in Peru is my cousin, because my cousin lives there. My cousin, another cousin, she moved to Australia. So my family has left Peru.
Okay.
Not all of them, but they have left. So I think their ultimate goal, to at least all the girl cousins, is to move here.
Similar to you, like I take a lot of pride in being Albanian. Because as an adult, I find a lot of value in having a different perspective. How would you say that being a Peruvian has benefited you, or just let's forget Peru for a second, just a foreigner, or maybe someone from the region of the world where you're from? What would you say has brought you like the biggest benefit? Why are you so proud to be like not from around here necessarily?
Peruvian flag, like you wave it like there's no tomorrow. There's just something about your country that makes you love it. Like Peru has so many beautiful things. We have Machu Picchu, one of the 7 wonders of the world. We have the food, some of the best cuisine in the world. It's proven. It is ranked. It has won awards. It's the best travel destination. Also been proven. Also has awards. I don't know. I think because
you have the Emperor's Group.
Exactly. I don't think it's directly benefited me. I think it has made me very tough.
Okay.
And I think that has benefited. I don't want to say it's benefited me. I think it's actually made a lot of things very difficult for myself in America. Being a foreigner, I think has benefited me with friendships and relationships I formed, because I feel like a lot of the people I tend to connect more with and form friendships with don't tend to be American.
Yes.
So it brings value to my friendship. It brings something that I can connect to somebody. You know, because even though I'm not going to be like, oh, you also are like this because of this, it just happens naturally. It's like I don't have to tell you, oh, we're the same because of this, or we have the same personality because when we were younger this happened. We know that we are similar in personalities because of our background. So even if it's indirectly said, we know that it's not because we know that it's because we're not from here.
Yeah.
And I think that's like something I've noticed with a lot of my friends. I have a lot of my best friends are not from here culturally. Maybe born here, but not culturally. And I think their families have withheld and upheld their culture really well in their homes. My friends all speak their like languages. So it definitely has brought us closer together, I think, as people. And it's benefited me with friendships. But I think in the workplace, I've seen the biggest shift where it doesn't benefit me. Because I think my personality benefits me, doesn't benefit me. I think because I grew up having my parents be such hard workers and having my parents, I watched my dad referee when he was 40, when he was tired, when he had a bad knee. I watched my mom babysit. I watched my mom do so many, they were so active and they had to do so many unconventional things that it created me to be such a hard worker. And it's really benefited me in the workplace. Like employers tend to appreciate that. But I've also noticed that they take advantage of it really easily and really fast. And it's my biggest downfall because my parents are always, don't give up, keep going, don't do it for them, don't do it for yourself. And I think that's where I'm always like, I have such a conflict because it's who I am, because that's what I grew up around, and I can't change that. Yeah. Even if I want to, I can't change the way I am. I can't stop going above and beyond for everybody all the time. And I would say that's like it's the most visual thing you see about me. Like it's something that you notice when you get to know me, that I can either work really, 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 really hard or completely disassociate with something. Like where I just like, I'm okay, I'm done. Yeah. Because I'm either all in or all out. All out. I can't like half-ass things. It's not who I am. And even giving up takes a lot from me.
Yeah, I've seen that. I mean, I've never seen it, but
you've seen the all out or all nothing.
Yeah, I've seen the like extremes. One thing for me that I've learned being here is that sometimes I feel like, or I have felt in the past, that I'm a little bit too much, that I'm a little too loud, that I'm a little too, that I feel things a little too deeply, that I'm a little too outgoing, that I'm a little too colorful, that I'm a little too eclectic. And it used to be a big problem for me because I used to internalize it instead of externalize it. And recently I have found that that is such a unique thing to have. And I think actually whatever diversity is here is because of the people that have maintained and have found like identity in being different. How have you dealt with times whenever you have felt like you're being too much because of other people telling you, or because you have constantly heard it from someone? How does being different, or how do you cope with being different now, or maybe in the past when people tried to use it as a against you?
Question. Interview question. I have a very strong personality. No, nobody can change the way I am. And I say this a lot, and a lot of people think I lie when I say this. Things people say do not faze me. It's like I go mute when it's like I cannot hear the second you start talking. They do not, like, that's like how extreme things don't affect me.
Is that for everyone, or is that for specifically for when people are trying to be negative?
When people are trying to be negative.
Okay.
Not even negative. I feel like sometimes people just make comments or say things. Like you could just say like an airhead comment and it would just go over my head. I don't think about it. It happens a lot at work. People say things and I'm just like, oh no, like it doesn't faze me at all. But I think it's because I don't care. Like not that I don't care, but it really doesn't faze me. But I feel like I have times where if it does bother me, it bothers me when people close to me say things. And then it really gets to me.
Yes.
Because if I don't know you, if you're like a coworker or like a boss, unfortunately, like it happens, people can say things to me and I like zone out. It could not faze me anymore because I've learned over the years to really value myself as an individual. Growing up, being very young, my little sister, we've swapped personalities. When my sister was younger, she was the cute one. She was the one everybody loved. She was the one that when people came to see her, they were like, where's Tamara? Like they wanted to see Tamara. Nobody cared to see me. You know, like it was like that's Camilla. Like I was just there, you know? And then as we became older, she became a lot more distant with people and I became a huge people person. I don't know. This is the first time I'm really thinking about it, but I don't know if it's because I don't want to say it was neglected, but because I think I was always like the tension was on her because I was the older sister. I think I pushed myself more to be more social. And that's so weird to think about. But I really do think it's because my sister was always the one, Christmas, like, Tamara, yeah, she's so cute, she's so funny, she dances. Camilla's over here like knitting at the age of like 10. Like, who does that? I was knitting scarves with my grandma.
Yeah.
When I was like 12 years old in 5th grade. I was in a knitting club. Like, who does that? I was like the really like weird one. I never had a doll. I never had a dollhouse. I've never owned a Barbie. I was like the arts and crafts kid. I was the one like learning how to knit, learning how to crochet, learning how to do. I used to make like rings and out of like felt, and
Oh
it
wow,
was
I
so
did not
weird.
know that.
Yeah, I used to make earrings because in Peru, um, art is really big. So like you can go to the store and they have like artesanía everywhere. I don't know what the English translation.
We call it similar. We call it artisanat.
Okay, yeah, so it's just like a giant like art mall.
Yeah.
Where you can go and you can buy beads and you can buy string to make the beads and you can buy the clasps to close the bracelets and so growing up I was doing that. I was doing all these like weird like arts and craft things. So I was a little more like less social and my sister was really like outgoing. So growing up, I guess I kind of absorbed that from her and I became the one who I would sit at the adult table when there were kids around me. I hated people my age, even younger. I still say that to this day. The reason I didn't go to college, a university in person, and why I chose to stay behind was because I don't think I would fit into a college. I don't like the party life. I don't like people my age. They irritate me. I think it's because it's like an American culture. I don't like turning around and seeing wasted students, people my age on the street. They get sloppy, they get messy, and I am very irritable. Like that stuff irritates me. I can't imagine doing that. So I was like, I can't do it. I can't deal with frat parties and frat brothers and nasty bars. So I say back. And growing up, I was that same way. I didn't want to be around the kids. I didn't want to be around my cousins that were my age. I wanted to be with my mom at the adult table, sitting down and talking.
Stories.
Yeah. So I was like, this is so weird. Thinking back about that because I literally did it at a certain age. I like flipped a switch and I became a different person. And you see it over the years. Like if you were to ask people about me 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I would have been completely different than I am now.
I think that's beautiful. And I think that's why me and you get along so well is because we have so many things in common. Like we are kind of like the grandmas of our generation. Which I find so much the last ones, which I find so much joy in because I feel like that's how we've gotten so close because we talk and that's why I wanted this conversation to happen because I feel like we talk about a lot of things that people our age would not even wouldn't even take the time to think about because it's too boring.
People get scrawny. Yeah,
they do.
They get scrawny. You can't talk to people about religion. You can't talk to people. We've
politics.
And work and me and you are complete opposites when it comes to a lot of things.
Yeah,
not a lot of things, but religion is a huge different thing that we have. I can't believe there's people who don't like even accept the idea of a conversation. You can't talk to them. You can't say that you're atheist or you're Christian or you're this or you're Buddhist or you can't say these things around people because they don't want to talk about it. It's sensitive. It's sensitive information.
You know what's funny? I used to be one of those people, and I think that's what coming to America has changed that completely. Even my personal relationship with God has changed me being from super judgmental to completely open to hearing people's stories. But I was actually going to bring up maturity. Like, I feel like every foreigner, which is most of my like social circle, is way more mature because we have to grow up like way sooner than Americans. Is there something that in your childhood that you wish you would have experienced like American children, or do you actually sometimes wish that you maybe would have had parts of Peru in your childhood rather than American?
I feel like I had most of the childhood experience in Peru. I wish I didn't have technology as a child, because you don't have it in Peru. You don't have that in Peru, at least not when I was growing up. I wish I didn't have to deal with a lot of stuff. My parents coming to the U.S. like I said earlier, my dad was refereeing, my mom was babysitting. My mom would buy like frozen like chicken patties from like Costco, and she taught me how to make rice when I was like in 5th grade. 4th grade, I started learning how to make rice because me and my sister would come home alone, and that's like a big no-no in America. Like you get the cops called on if you do that. It's so weird.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's maybe because we were like we were more mature for our ages.
Yeah, you were self-sufficient. You had to be
I had
self-sufficient.
to be. I had to learn how to turn on an oven and put it at 350. And you ask a child nowadays to swipe a gift card, they don't know how to swipe a gift card.
That's because we
into the
that.
chip. Just don't chip it's a paper gift card. But no, literally, you could ask somebody how to do the most basic thing, and people nowadays don't even know.
Yeah.
Even people like 3 years younger than me, I'm like, oh, you don't know how to do that? Mm-hmm. Like, that's so weird to me. Yeah. Because I was cooking chicken and rice when I was in 4th grade for me and my little sister. Yeah. I was like being a mom, even though my parents didn't leave us alone. It's not like they abandoned me.
Yeah. But it's because of their responsibilities.
They had to do what they had to do.
Yeah.
And I had a lot more responsibilities growing up. And I think that I don't want to say it affected me growing up. My parents, thankfully, were very open. They are very open. Mm-hmm. They allowed me to have sleepovers. They allowed me to go out. I didn't have a bedtime. I didn't have a curfew. Even in high school, I was allowed to go to parties. I was allowed to drink alcohol. Mm-hmm. But my parents fostered such an open environment with me. It was open. That's why I think I'm so open to so many things nowadays. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you can talk to me about anything. How much do you make? Which salary? How much was your paycheck this weekend? That's a normal thing for me to ask. That Americans are really like weird about. We talked about this. How like you can't ask somebody here like how much do you make because it's like rude or it's like invasive.
Yes. Same with politics. Like
I ask questions about everything. I'm like it's normal for me because I had to be curious growing up. Mm-hmm. We talk about things, at least in my household. My sister grew up with mental health, and my parents had to adjust to that. It wasn't something that they were used to. Mm-hmm. Dealing with a child with mental health and understand what depression was, suicide was, like they mm-hmm. had to learn a lot of things. Mm-hmm. So I feel like my parents, one thing that America taught my parents was to be more open-minded about things. Mm-hmm. You're a new country. You can't really be a dictator. Like I feel like they had to be a little more free-flowing. They had to be a little more trustworthy.
Taboos can't be taboos here, really.
Yeah, whereas like you have the typical Hispanic stereotype that's like can't go out, can't date, can't have a boyfriend, like the basic things people think about Hispanic parents. Mm-hmm. You can't go out to parties, you can't be out until certain times. My parents were not like that. My parents do not fit the Hispanic parent stereotype that most Americans think Hispanic parents are like. Mm-hmm. Very different. So I think I have an extremely different experience from that. Mm-hmm. My mom is very gentle. Mm-hmm. She's an extremely gentle human being, and my dad is a lot more extreme. Mm-hmm. So, and because my mom was the one raising us, we grew up very open-minded, and we grew up with a lot of leniency, mm-hmm. And a lot of trust. And I think that's why I love my parents so much. That's why I'm the kind of person who I'm like, we have Sunday dinners, we get together. Like I have such a close bond with my family. Mm-hmm. And it's because it's just the type of people that they are. Whereas I have a lot of Hispanic friends who want to get away from their parents. Toxic household. Because I don't have that. It's a very different experience. Yeah. But I think it's more to do with like my parents' families. I don't think it's a general thing because they don't fit the stereotype in terms of that.
Something that I was thinking about earlier. Actually, I've been thinking about it for a long time. But when it comes to money, I feel like our relationship with money as foreigners is completely different from Americans that were born and raised here. Relationship with money. For example, I'll share about like growing up. I didn't grow up in a poor household, but just in Albania, you don't have access to a lot of things. Mm-hmm. It's because of the same reason, right? When you were mentioning Peru, like you go to the store and you find things from 2012 because the country doesn't have the means to produce it. You either import it, mm-hmm. or families that have people outside of the borders, they bring they bring like luggages and with stuff, and which we used to do. But what would you say is your relationship with money now because of the way that you were raised?
I started working at a really young age. Mm-hmm. I started working when I was 16, 17 at like mm-hmm. public libraries because you can work younger at a public library. Mm-hmm. I think it's because I saw how much my dad struggled growing up. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I need to work because I need to provide for myself. Mm-hmm. I need to be able to have my own money because my dad has things to pay for. Mm-hmm. And I think it's something that I realized that I had that mindset older. When I was younger, I wasn't thinking, let me help with the bills. That's not the kind of child I was, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I want to have my own money.
Yeah.
Because my parents couldn't give me $15 to go to the movies,
Mm-hmm.
although they always tried.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they always made it possible for us. Black Friday, they would take us to the outlets and they would buy us stuff.
When Black Friday was Black Friday.
When Black Friday, they would do that, and they would hoard it until November, and they would buy everything for the rest of the year there. And I think we didn't have a lot of luxuries growing up. So then when I became older, I don't want to say I was deprived of everything. I didn't have a struggling childhood.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't have the best childhood, but I wouldn't consider I definitely think there's people who had it tougher than me.
Yeah.
I think my peak, when I started working,
mm-hmm.
I was awful with money. Even though the reasons for me working were good, I was so bad with money. Because I was so deprived.
For the first time, yeah.
I was deprived of it for so long that when I got money, even till this day, I still indulge in so many things that I shouldn't.
But it's that constant feeling like,
well,
other people have it.
Yeah.
Why can't I? Or I
deserve it.
Yeah.
I deserve it. And it's all the time. When I was younger, especially, I would use it for everything. And even now, like, it's more like adult. Now I'll buy a $500 purse. That's more of like a YOLO mindset. Yes. You only live once. I deserve this bag. But when I was younger, I definitely was like buying everything because I didn't have it. So I was buying all the things I didn't have.
Yeah.
I bought a new phone. I bought clothes from the store that I didn't shop for before. I didn't shop at PacSun. I didn't shop at American Eagle. I shopped at TJ Maxx. I shopped at Walmart. Not Walmart, more Kmart at the time before they closed. But so then when I started getting money, I was like, no, I'm gonna go buy something from makeup instead of from CVS, from Sephora. And I think that also comes with age as you grow up. But it hit me so fast. It wasn't like a little slow thing. It was like, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do everything. Even sometimes now to this day, I'm just like, I want to have these opportunities because I know I didn't have them when I was younger.
Yeah.
So my relationship with money has become a lot better, but it's because it forced me to be more conscious of what I was doing. I had to be. I had to be like, okay, I need to start saving. I need to get savings. My parents don't have savings. My parents don't have a retirement fund. I didn't know what a retirement fund was. I don't know what a 401k is. I still don't know what it is. I just know I'm putting money into one. I have no idea what it is. And sometimes it's really hard because I know that my parents also don't know what it is. So even to this day, my relationship with money is very like skewed because although I'm a little more mature with the way I do things and I make sure to prioritize my bills and stuff, there's still so much I don't know. That I'm sure that like an American friend can go to their parents and be like, what's a 401k? And they know what a 401k is.
Yeah. Or maybe they have like a trust fund set up for them so that one day when they grow up, their college is paid.
I mean, I don't have American friends, so I don't like white friends, so my friends don't have trust funds, I grew up with people who were like me, same family situation, same financial income, very similar. So I feel like we all grew up very similar in that way, and we understand each other from that perspective. But overall, I just, to this day, there's still so many things that I'm like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what a 401k is. I don't know what this means. I learned what interest was when I was way older. And it wasn't that I was afraid to ask my parents. There were just so many things that I knew they probably didn't know. And I felt bad asking them things. Because my mom didn't get a full education. My dad didn't get a full education.
You're first gen, yeah.
First gen. My mom didn't even finish high school. And that's so tough.
Yeah.
And as we got older, my parents started sharing their struggles so much more. My mom would cry and she would tell me like she gets frustrated because she didn't finish high school. She doesn't know how to do these math problems. She doesn't understand. She would tell me like, I couldn't help you when you were younger. And as an adult, that hurts to hear so bad.
Yeah.
It hurt to hear because it was like the first time my parents were just opening up to me about their struggles. And I'm glad they were able to. I'm glad they were able to share that with me, but I felt so bad. I felt so guilty in a way.
Because in a way that you feel like they're doing it just for you and they're leaving themselves behind, which is true. Yeah.
And now like my parents want to move. My dad wanted to go back to Peru. He wants to go to Europe. He wants to go somewhere every single month. He wants to move everywhere. But before I was like, no, I'm gonna miss you. No, you can't. No, leave the family. But now I'm like, do it. Go. You sacrifice everything for us. Money, school, cars, so much. Sometimes I don't even realize it. Like,
until it hits you.
I'm like, I didn't realize that my dad still pays for my car insurance. I didn't realize it just months where they asked to borrow money from my siblings. Even until this day, like they still do. And they asked for it for me too, and I'm more than happy to help because I'm like, I finally have it to where like I know that they need help and I know I'm able to do it for them. So it's a weird relationship with money for sure. Like I don't know.
I feel like that's the answer that I thought it was gonna be, and I feel like the reason why I asked is because I think there's a lot of stigma around like money, and especially in America, I feel like people who move to America that are from other countries, they're judged on how now they have like all of a sudden this better life. It's because of the extremes that exist. You go from a place where there's not a lot of opportunities to a place where now you have everything and you're expected to live as though you were in the country that where you came from. And I know personally a lot of guilt comes with it.
Like in a situation where like if it were like me and a friend, I know that there were a mom with a kid asking for money. I'm gonna be the one to pull out money in a second. You know what I mean? But when I'm doing things, I don't think about Peru in a way. Like it never comes to mind. Like
I feel like that's also because your direct family's here though.
Yeah, I don't think about direct family.
But because they don't even have like certain lifestyles. Like getting pedicures once a month is not a thing.
Yeah.
So when I go to the salon and get a pedicure, I'm constantly thinking, well, this is too much. This is not something that I need. Because I constantly think of my mom back home, and I'm like, she's not getting one and she's fine. But because I constantly compare my old life to my new life, and I still have people that I very much care and love, even though I live in a whole different country, half of me, like the way that I manage my money, the way that I go about life, the way that I make decisions, has so much to do still with Albania. And I think this is also different because I moved as an adult here, and you also have a lot more family than I do, and as a child. And that's why I think I love asking you these questions, because even though we're so similar, I can tell the difference of you moving here like slightly earlier than I did. And I want to be able to be like, okay, well, I made this decision, and I'm not gonna feel guilty, and I'm not gonna constantly like have my eye in the past. And this is, I guess, my last question. And it's like, do you feel like you belong here constantly, or actually, not do you belong? I feel like a foreigner when I go back home, and I feel like a foreigner here too. Does that happen to you? No.
I don't feel like a foreigner in America. But like, I think it has to do with the fact that I surround myself with people like myself. The only times I feel different, because I also don't tend to put myself in new situations with new people.
Oh, I see.
So I don't experience that like culture shock as much. I only feel that way where I'm somewhere new. Like if I'm somewhere new, I feel different. I don't know if it's because of culture necessarily. I don't know if I've made that connection yet. At least I don't feel like if I've mentally tied that together. But I tie it more to like my personality. Like I know I have a very tough personality. I know that I can be very serious
and rational.
But I also know that I can be very like silly. Like I'm like my dad. I have extremes. If you were to put me in a room with white people, white college students, I would probably leave. I wouldn't know how to feel. That would feel awkward to me. That would feel so not like me.
So you have situations when you feel that way, but in general, you don't feel like you're a foreigner here.
No. Okay. I mean, if I were to have lived in like College Park, for example, I would have felt it. I've been to a college bar with my friends.
Or maybe in Texas.
Yeah, maybe Texas. I've been to like a college bar with my friend, at College Park, and I wanted to leave. I was like, these people. Whereas like I can go to public settings. I can go to a bar. I can go to a club and feel normal. Yes. I can go to Bravo and feel normal.
Yes.
I can go to Don Tito's and feel good and happy. But if you put me in College Park where everybody's white and American and the most.
There's no diversity.
Nothing. I feel like a sore sore thumb.
Sore thumb, yeah.
Like I feel like I'm like a light bulb in a dark room.
Yeah.
Like I'm like you can spot me from a mile away. Because when I go to places like Bravo Bravo, which is all Hispanics, I don't feel that way. I feel normal. I feel like I can dance. I feel like I can't. I feel like I can dance in a room of Hispanic people, but I can't dance in a room of white people.
Yeah.
I feel like if I were to dance in front of a room of white girls or white guys, I would get judged. And I feel like if I were to dance in a room of Hispanic people, they would dance with me.
I see.
And I feel like that's kind of my life in America. How I feel. I feel like if I were to go into a room with those two different groups, I would be accepted by one and be looked at weird by another.
Oh, I see.
You know?
Yeah.
And not necessarily. And I think I would notice it because you would tell by my energy. You can tell by my energy that I don't feel comfortable around you. And I don't do it on purpose. I don't know. It's just something that's kind of rooted in me that makes me feel indifferent. And when you feel awkward and when you feel like you don't fit there, it radiates.
Oh, I see.
Like I feel like it radiates. Like when somebody doesn't want to be somewhere, you can feel it.
Yeah, you can see it on their face.
On their face, on their energy, everything. And I feel like that's how I am. And I think that's why I don't fit into those situations.
I feel like you make it known too.
I do.
Which I like.
You know, like I will stand there with like a face like a blank stare because like I have no interest in you. I don't feel comfortable here. I don't want to attempt it because I don't feel like it's worth my time.
Okay.
And I've also, when I was growing up, I've had a lot of best friends who were American. A lot of like white friends. I have no white friends now. A lot of friends I had for years in elementary school. I had like 2 white best friends. One in elementary school and one in middle school and some in high school. None of them are in my life now. Not because of personalities,
but because
life pulls apart. We hang out with different groups. Nothing. We don't share the same interests. We don't share the same culture. We don't share. We don't share anything that's like similar. And it feels awkward. It feels forced sometimes from both people. I'm sure if I were to bring a white person into a room with Hispanic people, they would also feel like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
I think that's like the perfect way to describe like how I feel in America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if I'm in a room of white, Hispanic, Black, Asian, I feel like it would work.
You have a good
I have a balance.
I feel actually very similar to that. I feel like because of the people, the people that I'm around for the most part, and even at church, there's so much diversity. Thank God for like this area of how there's so many cultures all around the place where I've kind of found my people eventually.
Yeah.
Like it took a while, but I do understand the being in a all white room
dancing.
Yeah, because
it's a weird like comparison.
Even if someone doesn't say anything to you, you can notice when people think that you are just different, like we don't get along, and it doesn't even have to be like
said.
Yeah, or like it doesn't have to have animosity, but you just kind of know, okay, we don't get along. Like this, I'm gonna have to if I have to be here, I'll have to be here, but we don't really.
It's not natural. It doesn't. It doesn't come from like. Walk into my house.
I've walked into your house several times, and I felt
You feel the presence of people. You feel the family. You feel, my dad. Hey, how are you? How are you doing? He talks to you. He engages with you. I mean, even with exes, I felt that coming into their houses. I'm greeted. I'm talked to. It feels like a home. There's like, it feels like a home when I walk into it. And with this particular friend, the only like white friend I had growing up, I've never been into a white person's home. I don't know what a white person's home looks like. I know what like a foreigner person's home looked like.
Yeah.
We welcomed her into my home. They never made the efforts to make me feel welcomed.
I see. Yeah.
Really weird. My friend ate Peruvian food with us all the time. All my friends. Neha was one of the people that would come and, where's Neha? Here's her dinner. Why is she not here? She'd be in my house so often that it was like, where is she?
Why is she not here?
This is her dinner. Here's her like lomo saltado. Here's her pollo a la brasa. It was just like, here's your food. Here's something for you. Do you want anything? Do you need anything? I don't feel that even just in general from here.
Yeah. I feel like that was a really good answer to my question. And honestly, I felt like you felt like a foreigner too. I guess you don't.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, I feel like less and less. And to be honest, I feel like in 10 years, I'm not. It's kind of sad to say, but I'm gonna feel at home. Maybe it's because a part of me wants to stop me from.
I still don't feel like I'm at home. I don't think it's gonna come.
Okay.
I mean, I've been here since I was 6, 7. I'm 23, almost 24. I still don't feel like it's my home. So maybe I do feel like a foreigner, because I don't feel like this is my home.
Yeah. I live. It's such a weird in between.
I live in Maryland. Maryland is where my home is at.
Yeah.
But like, my home, my heart is in Peru. Maybe not even Peru, but it's just like my culture, my people. You can make a whole country just of Hispanic people, and that is my home.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like home, with people who are like me. You know, the aspect of like family and Hispanic families and Latino culture is huge.
Yeah.
Living with your parents, taking care of your parents.
Same
what is an elderly home?
We don't have that.
You don't do that. You're living with me. I'm gonna be 16. Yeah, you're gonna be 90.
It's embarrassing. It's such a shame if you put your parents in elderly homes.
That's why I'm just like, yeah, maybe I do feel like a foreigner. I don't feel like this is my home.
Don't.
And cut.
Okay, we have to do an outro.
Yeah, no, I was joking. You can put that in there.
Did you have fun?
I loved it. Okay. I've never talked so much about.
I can see the light in your eyes, honestly. This made me so happy.
Talking about who I am and where I'm from, it makes me more in touch with who I am. Like, it makes me realize that this is who I am, you know? And I feel like I don't get to share that with people that much. I feel like people just see me and they don't always hear about, like, who I am, what I did. They don't hear about the corner store. They don't hear about the little candies. They don't hear about the little random things that I did growing up. So it brings me so much joy, like, talking about it with people and having people who understand, you know?
To be honest, if it makes you feel any better, I feel like I've known you for how long now? For
a year, 2 months.
I don't think I have ever met someone who is so outspoken about who they are without even needing to talk, because you're the way you just her beautiful makeup. The way that you present, just the way that you are, like, you are literally the definition of no filter, and I love it so much.
Yeah, it's so bad sometimes.
No, I don't think it's bad.
Corporate America, please, I'm gonna have a filter, I promise.
No, I love it, and I love that you got to share and to tell me and everyone.
Me too.
About your.
I hope you guys love me. Make sure to comment and subscribe and tell me to be in the next.
You already know they loved you. We talk about this all the time.
Yeah. I love you.
I love you too.
I'm so happy. I genuinely never thought I would have made the French. Like, I don't think people realize how different we are, though.
No.
I feel like you won't realize how different we are until you meet us. What do they call us?
The powerful couple? The duo?
The duo. Yeah, because I do feel like we're so different.
We are. Yeah.
You know, because I feel like I can be so cold, and you can be very sensitive. But like at the end of the day, like we literally come together, and like you can tell me how you feel, and I accept it.
Yeah. We
understand each other.
We really do.
And it's so hard to find people like that. I've cut out people in my life because I haven't been able to talk to them. They don't feel like talking to me, and I can't talk to them.
Yeah.
And you don't run into a lot of people, especially I think at my age, who understand that.
Yeah, I forget that you're younger than me.
Yeah, I'm fresh meat.
Okay, guys, you got to spend some time with us, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you loved it. I'm sure you did.
God.
You don't have to say God bless you. You can just do your thing.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening to my life story and Lydia's life story. It was very fun. It was such a, like, I'm never going to forget about this.
Aww.
This is such an experience that you don't have often. And I'm really happy you guys are here with us.
I love it. Okay, have a great week. Mwah! Till next time.
Hello, class. Can you hear this? Cut. Okay. I want to hear it.